Republican Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee has had a series of clashes with President Trump, most recently on the administration's muted response to Saudi Arabia's killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. The chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is now preparing to step down. First on CBS This Morning, I visited with Corker at one of his favorite restaurants in Chattanooga to talk about how Washington works, or doesn't, and what worries him about the issues no one seems interested in addressing.
My introduction to public service, I think I was in my late 20s. I started working in this neighborhood. The good things that are happening in our country are happening in communities and cities like this. As I think about our current president, I don't think he knows that there are people all across this country that live in communities like this one, just wanting to be engaged.
Senator Corker has tangled publicly with the president from his own party.
The president has great difficulty with the truth.
You supported the president. Do you regret that now?
What do you think?
Where are you right now on your feelings about this president?
I like many of the policies. I love the deregulation that has taken place. I love the animal spirits that have been released in our country. Obviously, I'm a Republican. I love the number of judges that have been confirmed. But I think where the president hurts himself and hurts our country is his own personal conduct. It's unnecessary. You know, it's an unforced error.
You said the president tries to divide us.
I think with President Trump, the part that's disappointing is that I know it to be purposeful.
The distinction you seem to be making is that this president is actively being divisive for the purposes of his own political success.
He might say that himself. I mean, I think that's self-evident.
And so when people say he's a little rough around the edges, he's got some tweets that you may not like, but he's passed tax cuts, there's no real cost to his rougher side of his nature.
I speak out because, yes, I do think there's a cost. I think there's a cost to our young people throughout the country. I think there's a cost to just the way people are relating to each other.
Do you think you'd be able to speak out if you were running for re-election?
To run in the state of Tennessee and to be publicly critical of a president on the Republican side, especially one that has captured the base in the way that he has, would be bad for your health.
Is that the pressure all your colleagues you leave behind face?
I've been told by candidates who did run in campaigns this year that no one asked them about any issues to speak of on our side of the aisle. No issues. They want to know one thing. Are you with Trump?
Is that healthy?
Oh, I don't think it's healthy, no.
But Senator Corker does see certain advantages.
The unorthodox nature of the Trump presidency has in some ways caused people to be closer on each side of the aisle, in some ways. Still vast differences in policies.
What makes them closer?
Well, it's sort of like everybody's in the same boat, right?
The same boat, but he says still unable to take a hard vote.
United States senators don't want to cast a tough vote
on the fiscal crisis facing the country.
Here's what happens, John, is somebody will have some, well, God, I don't want to vote on that. If we have to vote on that, then I'll have to take a position on it, and boy, we're hired to vote. I mean, you know, express yourself.
It used to be the deficit was the conversation. It was the centerpiece. It was the focus, and it seems to have gone silent, and this has some real cost.
We spend the entire year working on this appropriations process, which deals with 35%, let's say, of what we spend as a nation, and we don't spend a single day on the rest of it, which is what is going to be our undoing, right? Not a day is spent on it. That's what you call majoring in the minors. It's just not on the American people's mind, and it's sad. We're harming the next generation.
And the greatest privilege has been...
A crisis Senator Corker now won't be in the Senate to help confront as he returns home here to Chattanooga. So do you know exactly what you're going to do now?
I do not.
Is the political elected office stage of your life over?
I would rule nothing out at this time.
Would you rule something in?
I know that every person thinks that every senator wakes up in the morning and thinks they're looking at the next president. I don't do that. I don't. I do, though, think about it sometimes.
Very candid interview, and I'm thinking his restaurant has a nice fireplace.
Well, that was his house. The house had the fireplace. The restaurant, I don't know whether they had a fireplace or not, but they had very good food.
He was very candid and open with you.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of energy. He's he's not done with
You think he's
this
done it?
public.
What do you think?
Well, I just think he cares a lot about these issues, and he's not talking about working on his, going into the wood shop and just making some nice decoy ducks or something. He's got things he wants to do.
There's another chapter for Senator Corker.